Alright guys, hey, we're going to start Photoshop and I'm going to have quick little videos going over skills that we're going to practice. The very first thing you want to do is you want to go down to the start menu and you type in the word photo, and if you want to type the full word out, Photoshop, but we're looking for the one that says Adobe Photoshop CS6 64-bit. Okay, let's go ahead and open that up, and when you do that you're going to get a screen that looks like what you see right here, and that is the general workspace. Okay, when you open up Word, you usually have the document pre-made for you, and what that is, it's a US size document, 8.5 by 11. Okay, and you can adjust it just like you can on Word. I can tell it what size document I want, and on Word they have all these different sizes, okay, for different types of things. Photoshop, we literally tell it what size it's going to be, whether it's going to be, the size of a phone. So let's say 3.5 by 6 inches. Or if we're going to do a logo or a cup, that would be, 3 inches by 2.5, or whatever the case may be. Or in the case of a billboard, like we see on the roads that are 50 feet tall by 60 feet long, we tell it what size to do. Okay, the first thing we need to do is we go to File, New, and we always want to label it so that when we save it, we already have it labeled and ready to be saved. And so for this one, I want you guys to name it Practice 1. Okay, and these are what are called presets. These are kind of most commonly used Photoshop document sizes. For what we're going to do, we're going to use what's called default Photoshop size, and then we are going to pick we're going to make sure this resolution is 300. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and hit OK. And then when you see here, yours is probably going to show up probably like this. To zoom in and out on your keyboard, it says Alt right next to the spacebar, and then the scrolly button on your mouse. That lets you zoom in and out. The next thing I want to draw your attention to is the toolbar, the left-hand side. These are all the tools that Photoshop has. Okay. The thing to keep in mind is those little tiny arrows at the bottom right means there's more tools. So this one, there's more here. So you can see that beyond the toolbar, there's more. Now they don't list them all on here because they want to keep your workspace kind of clean. Okay. All right. So the very first thing I want you to do is I want you to go to the internet, and we're going to go to Google. Maybe. And then for your search, I want you to type in, I'm going to put ball. And I'm going to just find one of these balls to cut out. There we go. So I'm going to go ahead and right click. And actually before I do that, something to keep in mind. Whenever you highlight, that's why I like to use Google Chrome. What you'll notice is that on all these images, they give you a size. The bigger the size means the cleaner the image is going to be, the more crisp the lines are going to be, the cleaner the color and the pixels and all that. So like this one, this is actually going to be a really good one right here. So I'm going to click on this one. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to View Image. This doesn't always work. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. So in this case, it's not going to work. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to X out of that. I'm going to right click, open image in a new tab, and then I got the image here. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and copy it from here. Now, going back to Photoshop, the paste, when we're on Word or anything else, we can right click and go to paste. Okay, on Photoshop, when we right click, we can't do anything. Okay, so we got to learn the shortcuts, and that's why having good keying skills is very important. It makes things faster, it makes it easier for you. The shortcut to paste is Control V, or those that like the long method, it's Edit, Paste, Control V. Okay, so I got my ball in here. Now to change the size, whether our image is big or small, it doesn't really matter. To change the size of an image, you got to think back to the movie Transformers. In Transformers, they're going from a car to a robot, so they're transforming, they're changing size. Well, it's the same thing on Photoshop. That's the word they use to change size. It's free transform. So the shortcut is Control T, and you'll often hear me talk about this a lot. Control T. So just kind of open the image up as best as you can. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is I know right now you can't see it, but there is a white background on here along with the white background itself. I'm going to go over here to the right side of where your layers are at. You'll notice that there's two layers. There's a background and then there's the image. So I'm going to go ahead and click the eyeball off the background. And what you'll notice is that there is an image on, or a background on the actual image itself. The first tool I'm going to show you guys is actually the easiest tool to use if we have a simple white background like this one. So you're going to go down the toolbar, go find the eraser, and I want you to click on the eraser. Now here is a simple eraser. As you can see, it's just like any other type of paint program, you can erase it. But if you right click that eraser and go down to magic eraser and then go and click on the white, you'll notice it takes away the image itself. Okay, what that does now, it turns that into being what's called a PNG, and therefore when we put it on Word or PowerPoint or anything like that, we won't find an image. Now I'm going to go back to Google and I'm going to do my search, but this time I'm going to put in the letter PNG. And then when we click on an image, what should appear, if you notice, is that here now there is a checkered background on Google. The only difference now than what I just did is I made this one, and this one's already been made. What we would have to do to use this one is just right click, save the image. There we go, and I'm going to save it to my desktop so I can quickly find it. And then I go to my desktop, find my ball, and I click and I transfer it in here. And then now you can see I got the same thing here. I got a ball with no background. Okay, so why I wanted to show you that is that you may look for images on Google and they may not be a PNG. PNG means portable network graphic. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you, okay, what if we have an image we want to cut out that doesn't have a simple background. So I'm going to put it in Michael Jordan. So I'm going to cut out Michael Jordan from an image. So I'm going to go ahead and try to find me a nice big one. And I'm going to click this one. So I'm going to go ahead and right click. Actually, I'm going to view image so I can get the ultimate. Yeah, so you can see here on this image, you see the pixels. So using that a magic eraser, it won't work because it doesn't have the clean image. So I'm going to go ahead and paste this in. Control T, make it a little bit bigger so I can see it a little better. I'm blind as a bat. Alright, so now what we're going to do, so if I try to use the magic eraser on this one, see what happens. That's no bueno, that's no good. Okay, so what we would do next is that we would want to use what's called either the quick selection tool, which is a 4 tool down, or we'd want to use the magnetic lasso. And I'm going to show you both of them. The hardest one to use is the magnetic lasso, but it's the most efficient. The goofy one is the quick selection, but on the quick selection, what you do is you kind of are tracing from the inside out on an image. Okay, so like you can see here, and I really should zoom in so I can get better. What this does is it just tries grabbing pixels that are close to what I want to trace. Okay, so on here I'm going to keep going and keep tracing on here. So we're going to keep tracing him out. And I don't know if you notice right now, I'm going to make my brush a little bit bigger. And by doing that, all I did is I went up here and I slide this, or on my keyboard, I hit the little bracket buttons that are next to the letter P. One makes it smaller, the other one makes it bigger. Okay, but say like I push it out too far, like that. I gave him a tumor on his shoulder. Right now, the brush or the circle has a plus sign. If I hold Alt, it gives me a minus sign, and then I can push that in. And all I'm doing is I'm holding Alt, and I'm pushing that dot or the dotted lots back in. dotted lines back in inside of what I want to be traced. Okay, and I'm going to finish tracing him out. I'm going to zoom out. Alright, so like right in here, between his arms, I need to get that. So that's what I was talking about. We'll use the Alt button and we'll push that line in. Okay, once I get it traced, I can copy, Control C, or I can cut it out, Control X. And it looks like I didn't get the number 23 traced. There we go. Control X, or I can Control C and copy, and then Control V and paste. Right now, nothing happened, but if I do that, there it is. Okay. So what I want you guys to do, this first practice one, I want you to get a bunch of random. I want 5 random things. I want you to cut out and then paste inside of a default Photoshop document. Let me know if you need any help.